Welcome to Brutal Speedruns, a series about runs so mind-blowingly hard and hand-breakingly demanding that it's a wonder anyone attempts them at all. Today's game, Super Mario Odyssey. Today's categories, all moons and 100%. Today's runner, hey they're cool. I'm Phil. Let's not waste any more frames. Super Mario Odyssey is the land that was promised. After 20 years of brilliant 3D Mario games pushing the constraints of their console's capabilities, we finally have one where every mechanical facet of the game is crisp and fully realized. A camera that cooperates, movement options galore, and an absurd amount of content by the standards of previous titles. Another thing Odyssey has that most Mario games don't, a category that would put you into meal penalty on most union jobs. 880 moons is a Herculean task for such a tiny man and one hat to tackle. The record at the time of this sentence is 7 hours, 19 minutes, and 54 seconds for all moons, and 8 hours, 43 minutes, and 45 seconds for 100%. That's basically non-stop. To play perfectly for that long is a task that no human has ever completed. But this is the story of the runner who's come closest. Hey, they're cool.
I don't have an exact number for total hours in Odyssey because of how the Switch counts hours. I'd have to estimate around 7,000 hours in Odyssey total. Honestly, most of that is practice, I'd say. Individual runs of the kingdoms themselves. Single splits, basically. 500 of those hours were for attempts. Yeah, I'd like to practice a lot more than doing runs.
Let's f***ing go, dude! 1x, bitch! 1x, bitch!
In between all those records, there's 100 or so hours into practicing just different parts of the run. It might seem like I just get a new world record out of nowhere, but no, I just like practicing a lot. Well, it started around the summer of 2017 by me coming across a random Summoning Saul video in my recommended. That just got me hooked on his videos and speedrunning in general. His videos and his storytelling and stuff made me just really intrigued. I wanted to try it on my own. It was a good time to start with Mario Odyssey because that was about to release. So I tried doing the Koopa freerunning minigames. And after that, tried out any percent. And then after getting good in that, I tried longer categories, which included all moons and 100%. And now I'm here with both of those records. I just really like the movement for one, and the variety of different things to do in the game. It's easy not to get burnt out from the game entirely because I can just switch to one thing.
In a lot of ways, these daylight-burning runs are off the beaten path. Like most games, any percent tends to dominate the discussion and the playtime. Because of that, runners like Hey They're Cool are free to blaze their own trail through these categories for the low price of having to play through at least 7 times the amount of sheer content.
I think any percent is way more optimized and overall a harder category to run, even though it's a lot shorter and manageable in time. A middle ground would be Darker Side, which is also really optimized, but not really as much as any percent. For all moons, the same level of optimization would be 705 or something. It's not nearly as optimized as either of those categories just because of how long it is, how many things there are to do in that category, and not that many people run it, so there aren't as many people trying to optimize it further.
Isaac Newton famously worked alone to define modern physics, but fortunately for speedrunners, they're a little less dense. The routing for a category like All Moons networks a galaxy of discrete tasks across the game's worlds, and it's the product of years of work from across the SMO community.
Personally, I haven't done much, except for, I guess, different movement and strats, but people have had a set route basically near the release of the game, which includes people like Tippy, Byaco, Mini Beast. I'm definitely missing some more people, but back then it changed every few weeks or so. Yeah, it's changed a ton. There's a PowerPoint that has the entire route that you can easily go through during the run. After doing so many runs and so much practice, I have it memorized, so I don't even need to have it open.
Once you wrap your head around the massive amount of practical knowledge and get comfortable with all the execution, you get to the fun part, all the other hard stuff.
The biggest part of downtime, I think, is 45 seconds around there, and that's near the last hour of the run. There's not that much downtime. It's mostly just movement and just like waiting for a little bit.
Something I was shocked to learn was that, despite the absurd length of this run, there really isn't a lot of RNG, and the run killers are pretty minimal. But the sheer amount of execution in this run is staggering.
For all moons, I'd say it's volleyball, which I think is the hardest moon, like both casually and in a speedrun. It's just 3 minutes straight of hitting the ball. Most of it isn't hard, but near the end, like the nerves can mess you up for sure. There's like a couple parts of RNG in the run, but none of them really have the chance of killing the run. There's the Mecha Wiggler in Night Metro, which loses a few seconds if you get a bad pattern. Volleyball, the place where the ball goes, is also random. At the very end, when you're doing Toadette, that could be really bad if you miss like even one thing for the achievement. If you barely don't have enough cap throws, or if you miss one checkpoint, you can lose like minutes from that, which sucks. Lost 2, Luncheon 2, what they call WSM, which is Wooded 2, Sand 2, Metro 2, all in a row. All of those are pretty hard, but usually they don't completely kill runs. For 100%, that's a very different story. You have to do coin grinding in that category to get enough coins for each of the outfits that you need to buy. That split is around an hour and 20 minutes long. In each round, there's very little downtime in that. There's like a couple seconds after capturing the dino in that room. Like you have to do that 100 times. One set is around 30 minutes long of just doing the same thing, and the other set's around 40 minutes long. That's what makes a lot of people, including myself, prefer all moons a lot more over 100%.
That was bad, but oh well.
I think the first record in all moons, or like the first couple months, it was around 10 hours. Over 2018, I'm pretty sure it got down from 9 to 8 to sub 8. 2019, it went from that to I think around sub 730, and the last world record for a while was set in the middle of 2020, and then exactly a year later I beat it by around 1.5 minutes.
Yes, dude.
Oh my god. And then now I beat that by around 7 minutes. I feel like with enough grinding, I could get a sub 710 this year if I wanted to. I know that other people, if they stay motivated, they can definitely do it, like BP3142, as well as Dangers and possibly Fur if he decides to grind it again. I would say it's sub 720, but I got that like I think 2 months ago. That was a goal for a long time. With enough motivation, we can reach stuff like sub 710, sub 705. Yeah, I'd say we have a bit of a camaraderie. Like sometimes we decide to share strats. It seems to be people like BP3142, Wagisty, and Joe Cool. Just talk about the category overall and just help each other out. Watching Fur and Tippy do runs in the past, it was just super motivating, and I was like, wow, people like Tyron and Mitch, like how good they are and how good everybody else sees them in this game. That kind of motivates me to like do my own thing, to like show my potential and stuff like that. Like watching their streams, just watching anybody's speedrunning streams motivates me.
Wait, dude, what?
I feel like a lot of people gloss over how much being locked in for hours at a time can take out of a person. Grinding any percent runs is certainly demanding, but at least every hour or so you get the chance to step away to relax, drink some water, and God forbid, go to the bathroom. There is no such luxury in a run that exceeds 7 hours, and every player has their own methods to survive and keep their mentality in check. Hey There Cool has all sorts of mentality tricks, habits, and then some.
Usually I eat a big meal like right before I start the run. I like to have like a snack right next to me, And I also have a big water bottle, which I probably need. The only runners of these categories that play with Joy-Cons and have them detached are me. I know Fur used to do that. Most people, they just use Pro controllers. My friend, I showed him some of my records and he was calling me like a tryhard. It's hard to explain, but I need something to distract me just a little bit for me to just not get over focused on the game and then get way too tilted from one tiny mistake. I feel like resetting because now this run's just kind of this is really bad. Mentality for me is something that like changes the result a ton. I want to make sure that I'm like feeling as good as I can, and usually it helps being in like a call with some friends.
Video game for baby?
It makes sense if you get mad at Fortnite. You know?
I'd say it makes less sense. People who get mad at Fortnite.
Grinding the category, it's kind of relaxing. It isn't as bad of a grind compared to doing something like 16 star. I know it's definitely better for me than any percent, which I just get mad at after a few attempts and just never touch it again for a month. Because it's so long of a run, it's really easy to lose time. Like if you make one mistake, it's not gonna kill the run, or like even if you lose a couple minutes, you can still keep going. It's great peace of mind, I think. Nah, this is not good gold anymore. Never mind, I was gonna say something, but it did not matter. Just to do a run of it, a single run of it, it's super hard. I don't know if I'd say it's the hardest. I might be biased because like I went through it already, so like I might forget like how I got here, but I would say it's hard, but I'm not sure about the hardest. Seeing other people get good, just like in general, doesn't even have to be speedrunning, just like people being super skilled at something keeps me going. Yeah, I'd say athletes, people who are really good at an instrument. Yeah, I just want to like show my potential sometimes. And for Odyssey specifically, I could say that I've proven myself for the most part. I definitely want to improve the world records at least a little bit more. I know I want to go a bit further in 100% specifically because I really don't like that record. I don't even have the current world record public on my YouTube because I think it's just like, there's so many moments that I just really don't like.
I set out to frame this run as painstaking and insanely difficult, and sell it to you, my friends and viewers, as such. Honestly, getting to talk to Hey There Cool was really eye-opening. It's not just an obsessive urge to push himself and the game as far as it can go for glory, although that's certainly a component. There's a zen, an immersion of self in the task here that I hadn't anticipated. These runs are a genuine, inspired act of self-expression, like a painting, or a song, or that guy who used to walk around Union Square in a leotard, asking people for hugs and encouraging them to fart. Super Mario Odyssey is a special game, and runs like All Moons and 100% are a way to celebrate every little glorious detail.
Let's...
I'm gonna keep exploring runs and runners like these, so stick around if you're into it. Thanks for watching.
I'm gonna be 100% real with you. I think that Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a better cereal. Without having to fit the image of like Reese's Puffs Man or whatever, like just being 100% honest what my taste buds think, I think that the better quality cereal is Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Reese's Puffs, eat 'em up,